Today's daily recap is for BTG Beyond the Gates for Tuesday, August the 5th, 2025. It was okay today. Danny ends up waking up, with Andre. She makes him breakfast and they have, really good talk. She brings up Haley quite a bit, because she tells him, she says, you're going to have to be careful with that one. She said, because she was my daughter's best friend, and I know how Ashley thinks. And if depending on what your intentions are with her, you better be on the same page. But if it's one thing I do know about her, she's a definite mismatch for you. And I mean, I'm just saying, you know. And so anyway, he still thinking about Ashley with the little Paris date. And I'm thinking, Andre, you need your head examined. Ashley met her mom at Orphe G's. I think her mom's name is Jan. And she was telling her how, Derek had actually asked her to get back together with him. And her mother was so overjoyed. And she says, I told him no. She's like, why not, Ashley? Why? Because Derek's aspirations are keeping, the same job and, maybe working his way up to the ranks of being captain of the station and, or fire chief, whatever it is. I think fire captain, whatever. And, that's his dream. She says, what's wrong with that dream? They make good money, Ashley. And she says, and your dream is to be a nurse, which is what you're doing, helping patients. There's nothing wrong with your dream either. She says, yeah, but you know what? My dream might be expanding. She says, what do you mean? She goes, don't tell me. I know. She goes, this is about that Andre. She says, Ashley, he is not right for you. You don't know him. What do you mean? She goes, you were the one that told me his reputation and he's a playboy. Yeah, but you know what? Once I got to know him, Andre is different. He's really caring, and he recreated Paris, for a date for me. And she goes, like a player would do. She says, Ashley, when Fashion Week rolls around, he's gonna be gone with all the supermodels and the parties and doing what he does. She says, and what is that going to do for you? How are you going to feel about that? Well, I could do nursing anywhere in the world. When he's traveling, I could go be a nurse in that country and I could find out how they're healing people in other countries and medicine and I could still be a nurse wherever he goes. When she said that, I thought, child, what Alice in Wonderland you living in? He's in places for a couple weeks at a time. You're gonna try to find a hospital, your credentials don't work in that country, nursey, right? It takes time for you to be able to do something like that. And she goes, so you mean to tell me, Ashley, you would try to follow that man across the world just so he can't think about another woman. She says, Ashley, that's a recipe for doom from the start. And her mother just shook her head like, oh my goodness, girl, what is wrong with you? You don't know. You don't know, Andre. She goes, well, I'm just telling you, I feel you're going to be headed for heartbreak. And she is, but she ain't thinking it, right? So she ends up calling Andre. He's still with Danny. They finished breakfast and everything, and she made a great omelet for him. And he was surprised she even knew how to cook. And she says, I raised two daughters. She says, and if it's one thing my mother did, is she made sure we grew up knowing the things and learning the things she did. She learned how to cook when she was young, you know? So anyway, um, he looking at the phone and he answered it. He goes, hello? And she goes, Andre, can you meet me at my apartment? And he looks at Danny. He's gonna go. Danny's gonna be, hey, must be your dull nurse. Go ahead. You know, he's gonna go. And Danny says, but you know, I think she told him, she says, you know what, Andre? When you decide that you want to give Nurse Ashley your full attention, just let me know. Okay. And he looked at her and she goes, oh, don't think I'm gonna fall apart. She's saying, because if that's the decisions you make, that's the kind of decisions you make, that's going to be the kind of decision you make, you know? She's thinking, I can't police that, and nor will I fight that, because she's 10 times the woman Ashley is. So, okay, whatever. You do you, Andre. So, Doug, I am so sick of Doug. Doug is about to get canned by the board of directors because he froze in the middle of another open heart surgery, just thinking, mind wondering, not doing what he doing. They had to call another resident doctor, first year heart specialist. He came in and finished because Doug was on what? Huh? Doug told, because Ted was talking to him. He goes, man, what is wrong with you? You are making more and more mistakes in your heart surgeries. And he goes, so my mind wandered for a minute. He goes, minutes count in heart surgeries. A first year resident had to come and finish, save the day. He goes, Doug. So he takes him in his office, and Doug is all pissy. He goes, these hands have saved hundreds and thousands of hearts and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, Doug, but they almost cost the life of the heart you were repairing today. Okay. Nobody's saying you not. He goes, man, you are world renowned. But you are really, the last few months, you have really been slipping. He goes, there have been no malpractice suits filed against me yet. And he goes, and there sure shouldn't be. you know. So anyway, he ends up telling Ted, you the one to talk. Stay out my business. Cause you know what, the board don't have to worry about letting me go. I quit. And he goes, wait, what? He goes, Doug, you don't mean that. Why would you say you're gonna quit? I quit. They don't appreciate me. Fine. And he goes, think about what you're going to do. As your friend, I'm telling you, you're making a rash decision. Something is going on. Doug, talk to me. And he goes, friend, we're not friends. And no, I don't need, he goes, if you don't have this job, how are you going to pay for something? He said, oh, how are you going to pay for property taxes alone on the homes beyond the gate? Are astronomical. Trust me, I know. He goes, my wife comes from old money. I don't have to work. And she's in different business ventures that are bringing in a lot of money. I'll be fine. And he goes, kind of like shrugs Ted off, telling him to step off, right? And Ted was just kind of like, I can't believe what Doug was saying, right? And Doug leaves and he gets in his car and he calls Vanessa. Now, Vanessa was at the club meeting her tax preparer, and her tax preparer was telling her that, okay, where did this large influx of cash come in? Over the last month, we've been having way too much money coming in. And where she goes, oh, this is going for a real estate deal, that's coming up, a big commercial. But he goes, Vanessa, I didn't ask you where it was going. I asked you, where did it come from? What source did you get it from? So she goes, oh, yeah, well, and Nicole walks up at that time. She goes, yeah, I would like to know the answer to that too. And so she looks up at Nicole and she tells the accountant, look, I'll get back to you. You just do your magic because he goes, these are going to be red flags for the IRS. He said, she says, you work your magic so that they're not red flags, and I'll get back to you with the answers. I have to speak to my friend Nicole. So he just looks at her. He gets up, and Nicole tries to warn her and talk to her about Joey Armstrong. And I know what I'm doing, Nicole, blah, blah, blah. Right. So Nicole gets up after a while. She's supposed to meet a client or something, not a client, somebody she was meeting there. So the phone rings and it's Doug. Doug's in his car because, of course, that's where Joey put the bug, and that's what Doug's gonna have all his conversations, right? Not standing out the car, not in the house, not anybody in the car. He is telling Vanessa, I quit my job. And she goes, you did what? He goes, yeah, I quit my job. You refuse to stop that partnership with Joey Armstrong. She goes, you know why we're in it. And he goes, yeah, but you and he are more than partners. And she goes, Doug, you're making rash decisions. And he goes, no, I'm telling you, I'm renegotiating our arrangement with Joey Armstrong. I know way too much about him, about his business. I know enough to get him put away. So my new terms are going to be met. She says, Doug, don't you do a thing, right? She gets up and she goes rushing out the club, and she goes to Joey. Because Joey actually had texted her when she was talking to Nicole, and Nicole saw his name. She goes, see what I mean? That's going to lead you to know nothing good's going to come of that. Because he says, I need an update ASAP. And so Vanessa tells Nicole, we have a bid on a really great real estate property that he wants. The seller is dragging their feet. He just wants an update, whatever. So she goes to Joey and he says, why didn't you call me back? She goes, I was having a meeting with Nicole. Can't very well talk business in front of her. And he goes, he says something else to her. And then he says, so Doug quit his job today. And she looked at him. She goes, wait, what? You heard me. Doug quit his job. She goes, how do you know about that? He says, Vanessa, when are you going to learn? I have eyes and ears everywhere. And your husband is a loose cannon. No, I could get him under control. She goes, you've said that. And you're proving you can't. He says, but Doug is getting loose lips. No. She goes, yeah. So he played the recording of Doug saying what he was saying to her. And she looked at him. She says, you have his car bugged? He goes, absolutely. After he did what he did in this office the other night, you better believe I want to know where his head is at and what he's saying to other people. He says, and I'm going to tell you right now, Vanessa, it's not going to end well for Doug. She goes, listen, I'm telling you, I'm fixing it. I'm fixing it. I'm getting Doug his job back so that, it could keep him busy. So Joey just looked at her. And then he goes, by the way, have I told you how beautiful you look today? Back all into the kissy kissy. But he's letting her know, I'm going to kill him. Still think you're hot, but I'm not going to let your loose cannon husband ruin my business at all. Right? So then we have Haley. She comes into the office. Now, this part, everybody, I think we're going to have a mixed bag because part of me thinks she intentionally tripped over the box. But I don't know because Caroline just put the box down after putting the files up. Haley did have a plate in her hands and a Bill's coffee mug, but I kind of think she scoped the room. And in her skin tight outfit, this woman, she doesn't have a clue. This also shows how immature she is. There's no way she's 12 weeks pregnant. None whatsoever. Right? So she goes, you ran out the house without eating breakfast. She handmade him some French toast and she had the plate in her hand. And I'm thinking, girl, did you carry that out without covering it? Or did you take the foil off at the Caroline's desk? Because man, that sure got air exposed from your house all the way up the elevator to there, you know? So she grabs his coffee mug and she's got the plate and she's walking over to him because Bill's sitting on the couch in his office, trips over the box, and do you know she hits the ground flat? I mean, bam! You see her laying there in the top. Oh, I thought it knocked her out because her head hit that. I'm thinking she couldn't have planned that because she fell too hard, right? And Bill's like, Haley, Haley, baby, Haley. And then he's like, Carolyn, why did you have that box there? She goes, I'm sorry. I mean, we just took the files out. I didn't know. He goes, get that box out of here. And so Haley, honey, and Caroline is there. And Haley, huh? Okay. And he gets her up and he goes, oh my God. And he sits her down and she goes, huh? I'm okay, Bill. I'm okay. He goes, no, no, our baby could be hurt. We need to go to the emergency room. We need to go to the hospital. And she's like, no, Bill, no, I'm telling you, it's okay. You know, pregnant women fall. And I'm thinking, the kind of fall you had with a 12-week-old pregnant woman, the child could be in jeopardy. Seriously, right? So he goes, no, no. And that's when he's yelling at Caroline, get the boxes out of here, or that box out of here. She's, oh my God, right away, right away. And so he brings Haley some water and he goes, no, no, we are going to get you and the baby checked out. She goes, Bill, I'm telling you, I don't need to go to the hospital. I know my own body. Really? Really? Can you tell right now the phantom baby is gasping for air in it? Well, not air, because it's breathing or inhaling umbilical. It ain't breathing nothing. But got jolted and his little heartbeat's irregular right now. Can you tell? You damaged the bone or vertebrae in there? Can you tell that the placenta from that fall has come detached from your womb? Can you tell that, Haley? You know your body, but you're not a doctor, nor can you see what's actually happening inside of your body. Can you tell, Haley, you might be hemorrhaging inside? What kind of sense does that make, right? So Bill steps out and he's calling, trying to get an appointment. And he comes back in and he goes, okay, what? She goes, what did they tell you? They're booked. They don't have any appointments today. And she said, you're saying you're not feeling any pain, then you don't have to go to the emergency room right now. There is not a triage nurse in the United States would tell him that. This woman is 12 weeks pregnant. She took a hard fall flat on her stomach. There is no way they would say, you don't need to come to the emergency room, Bill. And you bought that stupidity. Because see, my thing is, I'm not asking you, can I come to the emergency room? I'm putting my doggone wife in the car and we're coming to the emergency room. That's how that goes. So Haley says, see. He goes, no, they couldn't give me an appointment today, but we have an appointment in the morning. She goes, but Bill, your deposition, is out of town. He goes, oh yeah, I fly out in an hour and I'm flying back in early morning. Our appointment, I think he says at 10 or 11, something like that. He goes, Haley, I'm going to be there for that ultrasound. I am going to see our baby on the screen and I'm going to hear our baby's heartbeat so that I know our baby is okay. Now that's a promise. And she kind of looks away like, oh no, that's going to be a problem, right? See, that's going to be a problem. Now, I did see scenes somehow she's somewhere in the same outfit, but it's not tied up like this. And she got blood everywhere. Talking about my baby. Oh, somebody help me. And somehow Danny is there. She's like, get away from me. I'm like, oh, here you go. But see, here's the deal. There is no way she's going to be able to pin that on Danny because Bill and Caroline witnessed the face dive into the hardwood floor and or also what is that, some kind of, not marble, but some kind of tile, right? Bill was going to blame himself, thinking, I knew I should have took you to, because he's going to be out of town. He's not coming back to the morning. So whatever damage she's going to do, she's got to do it tonight. So that when he gets home, Bill, I lost the baby last night. Yeah. She's going to have to lose that baby tonight. So it's going to be interesting how she arranges that. But for Danny to be there, Danny is going to be skeptic. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But I kind of think Bill is questioning it too. I really do. I really honestly do. So now we have Nicole, her person she was supposed colleague she was meeting to cancel. Carlton walks in and oh, full of the compliments again. And she goes, sit down, Carlton, because she stands up, hugs him, Carlton, blah, 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 sit down. And they're talking, and of course, he's complimenting her again. And, they were talking something about getting to know him. And he goes, I'm an open book. You can ask me any question. And she says, okay, what were you afraid of as a child? And he said, bunny rabbits. And oh, they both start laughing. She chuckling. What? Rabbits? And so he ends up saying, yeah, his best friend had a mean rabbit name. I forget the name. It was a one of the cartoon rabbit names, right? And they're laughing because she goes, the rabbit would bite. It bit his friend's finger, blood everywhere. And he goes, from that point on, he goes, and I'm young. I didn't know what to do to help him. He says, and I kind of made up my mind then that I wanted to be able to help people who are hurt, you know. And so they were talking, and then Ted walks up, Nicole. I saw some of the footage online. The concert looks like it went well. She goes, yes, it did. Mother did an excellent job. And he goes, I hope Leslie didn't ruin anything. And she goes, her presence there was enough, but no, she didn't get out of hand at the concert. And he goes, okay, good, because something he says, and which was ridiculously stupid for him to say. You're going to come over after the fact and say, I hope Leslie didn't ruin things when you didn't call Nicole to warn her, heads up, nothing. Nope, couldn't do that, right? Couldn't do that at all. And I thought, yeah, I was wimpish of you, Ted. And now you coming over. What if Nicole was going to say, yeah, she caused a scene, interrupted the show, had to be led out by security. It took a minute for my mother to get the show. Yeah, what if she was going to tell you that, Ted? So anyway, they left the scene there with Ted still standing there looking stupid. We'll see where that goes tomorrow, but I do believe she goes something she says, and then Carlton showed up, so my day got better. We got, we got to have breakfast. And Carlton ends up asking her, I think Ted left, walked away, because Carlton asked her, he goes, we had such a good time here at breakfast, Nicole. Do you think we could continue this conversation over dinner? Let's see what she says. Because, yeah, Ted screwed up. Yeah, I'd be pissed. And if I wanted to get messy, yeah, now I'm gonna date your partner. Yeah, I've known him for years, like you've known him for years. You've had your practice for years. And Carlton and I work at, I mean, they know each other. So yeah, I'm gonna get messy. I'm gonna date your friend in front of your face. But if you don't want to get messy, you're gonna look at Carlton and you're gonna say, you know what, Carlton? I consider you a friend. You know what I'm going through just breaking up with Ted, who you also consider a friend. No, I will not be going out to dinner with you. Now, I'm not saying a year or two down the line, who knows what would happen. But right now, I need to heal, Carlton, not rebound. And that's a little sleazy of you to slither in like that. Come on now, buddy. Yeah, no. I'm gonna call him for what he's doing. See, because now you got me thinking, you've been looking at me like that. How many years? And I'm married to your friend. I got a problem with you, buddy. I got a problem with you. So we're gonna see. Haley's situation is gonna be interesting tomorrow. I think that's gonna be the most interesting thing that we're gonna have to deal with tomorrow is Haley's situation. So now let's go to comment corner. Comment. Oh no, before I go to comment corner, I have to actually go to the voice line. To the voice line, everybody. Hold on for one quick second. Because I'm here on comment corner. Let's go to the comment corner voice line. I'm going to share my screen. We do have one caller that we're going to listen to. And let me put my earbud in. I've got my earphones. I don't have it on my external speakers because I didn't want to risk any kind of echoing. All right, here we go, y'all. I'm sharing my screen. There we go. Uh-oh. Now I've got my, sometimes the MP. All right, I think I got the audio fixed, y'all. I think I got the audio fixed. Here we go.
This is Soyman from Portland, Oregon with my BTG comments. On Friday, it was nice to have an episode without too much drama. Danny looked like an African goddess. That snake necklace was on point. I think Smitty will forgive Martin soon. I love the way Martin wore a shirt that Smitty likes seeing him in. Very sweet. LSD, a.k.a. Leslie Sherry Dana, is starting to bore me with her middle school silliness. I'll be fast-forwarding her for a while. Monday was another stellar episode. The tribute to Barbara was beautiful and very special. I almost cried. I'm on the fence again about Eva, and I think she is straddling too. Eva wants to be in Ted's world, but she keeps doing her mother's bidding. And Nicole needs to keep taking it to Dana or Leslie every time she gets out of order.
All right. Now you say Nicole needs to keep giving it to Leslie. I don't know. Leslie's gonna set a trap for Nicole so Leslie can press charges against Nicole. Nicole better be careful because there comes a point in time when you're chasing after somebody, you leave one business that this person has left, been escorted out, but you chase them down to another business where you assaulted them just a couple weeks prior. You got some consequences coming. So Nicole has to be careful. She has to. Leslie is too deviously street slick for Nicole. And everybody. Now, that was some great comments. Excellent job on the comments. Now, that was only 46 seconds. Do you see how you could actually say a lot within 1 minute? But I can 100% tell that you were prepared. The commenter was prepared. And the only reason I'm not saying your name is when I forgot it. That's the ass. I'm tired, y'all. But you were definitely prepared. So keep up those comments. And you just talked about every point you wanted to hit. I loved it. Let's go to comment corner, comment corner. We're going to see how many of these comments, because we actually got like 27. So let's see where they're going. Cleo says, I was expecting Barbara to pop up out of the dark and say, surprise, I'm alive. That Barbara tribute made me cry. It was beautiful. I loved it too. Leah says, I can see Carlton and Leslie scheming together. Yeah, he need to hook up with her. She free, thirsty too. Leah says, I don't know how Eva is not tired of dealing with Leslie. I am exhausted watching her. I hope this is not going to be the entire show. She says she was trying to keep her mother under control, but when has she been able to do this? In the end, she's been able to get, come on, now, mama, now. And she can kind of, because without her ushering her mother out of the club, Leslie would have stood there and just showed her behind bad until security would have had to escorted her out. Jess K said, do you think Shanice intervened with Nicole and Carlton because she knows how Carlton is? Yeah, I think so. Shanice knows the tea in that hospital. It will be messy for Nicole and Carlton to get together, or he would be obsessed with Nicole having an altar of pictures of her. It's just a little too messy. Tara says at this point, Eva needs to step back from trying to stop Leslie from getting loose and just let it happen. Kat came to her before to get her mother, and when Eva tries, there's still an issue. I think Leslie went on her own to the club. She did. Eva followed her, and Eva followed her to stop her. My whole thing is, it kind of didn't make sense. Leslie didn't have the code to get in behind the gates. Eva did. So, I guess we're not supposed to think about that. But Eva was already going to be guilty by association. Eva needs to work on a relationship with Ted and let Leslie do whatever she's going to do, because neither the Duprees nor Nicole has taken legal action against Leslie, and they have access to 2 lawyers. And like you said, Nicole is playing into Leslie's trap. She absolutely is. Lastly, the nasty comments from Kat to Eva are getting old. Yes, they are. And you calling somebody's mama a hoe in their mama's face and your face, you deserve to get slapped. Doesn't matter if Leslie really is one. Doesn't matter. But you saying that in both of their faces, that deserved a slap across your mouth. Seriously. Carolyn says, since there's no issue with the ticket, Eva yet had another opportunity to tell the truth about the ticket. Carolyn said, in the beginning, Martin didn't take Smitty's feelings in consideration when it came to him going back to work. I guess I guess this was all a buildup for all the things that happened prior to the fallout between the two. Alicia says, Eva is an enabler to her mother. That's not good. Tara says, Eva's a victim of Leslie because Leslie is a hardcore narcissist. Jess K says, Eva is a victim. Ted is an enabler. I believe that. Even a coward, enabler being a coward, letting Eva clean up LSD stuff. Tara says to Jess K, right. I don't think Eva was even going to the concert since she was making plans to stay home with Leslie at her apartment. Ted could have reported the ticket stolen and Leslie wouldn't have been able to get into the concert. I don't know. Can you do that? I mean, are the machines sophisticated enough to say, hey, this ticket has been reported stolen? I don't know. And then Alicia says, Leslie is so funny. Alicia says, Andre did a pretty good job. The t-shirt was another matter. Was Andre wearing a t-shirt? The only t-shirt I thought was out of place was the t-shirt Chelsea was wearing, t-shirt of a young Anita, when you wearing just that t-shirt and that ugly short little skirt that didn't match. Girl, come on now. This was a sophisticated night. Dress to impress. Dress to impress. T says, excellent review as always. Black Purple Turquoise says, here we go. I'm so glad that Danny and Andre kissed publicly. Naomi needs to relax, even if them together is odd. I think she would at the very least be happy that her mother is finally trying to get out of her long overdue Bill phase, and she's not obsessing over him and Haley every single chance she has. Andre and her are good for one another, but I'm not feeling him and Ashley neither. They need to stop. They need to be stopped hopefully soon, as Ashley's proving to be nothing more than a low-key OCD and all over the place with not a single clue as to what she wants. I got pure secondhand embarrassment last week watching Derek try to talk her into coming back to him. That was just a mess. He needs to move on and find someone better than Ashley at some point. I agree. I agree. He needs to move on. Ashley, she's a mess. And Andre, I would think, would sleep with her just because he always wanted to get in her pants. But there is not one thing about Ashley that holds Andre's interest. Not one thing. There really isn't. So that's it, everybody. That is it for today's daily recap of BTG Beyond the Gates. I will be back again tomorrow with another daily recap.